Man once named as a person of interest in young Dolph's murder has now also been killed.
The tragic death of young Dolph acted as the catalyst for an intricate chain of events, each layer unfolding with consequential gravity. As news of his untimely demise reverberated, a profound shockwave of grief swept through his community, setting the stage for a cascade of emotions. Yet the impact reached beyond sorrow, unearthing dormant conflicts and unresolved tensions that, once ignited, evolved into a violent snowball effect.
2 people have been arrested in a deadly Castalia Heights shooting.
It is plausible that the widespread media coverage of all the suspects involved in the news contributed to the demise of each one. Following the tragic death of young Dolph in November 2021, the loss of the beloved rapper stirred chaos in the city of Memphis, where he held a prominent place as one of, if not the most cherished figures in the local rap scene. His untimely death occurred just before he could carry out his altruistic plans of delivering Thanksgiving turkeys to the less fortunate, intensifying the impact of the tragedy on both the city's music community and the broader population. His demise ignited a surge of anger and frustration among numerous residents in Memphis, transforming the city into a perilous environment. The heightened tensions prompted law enforcement to issue advisories, urging people to exercise caution and stay indoors for their safety.
Tonight, we strongly encourage everyone to stay home if you do not have to be out.
The palpable atmosphere of danger underscored the profound impact of young Dolph's tragic death, as the community grappled with the aftermath of the incident, with emotions ranging from grief to outrage, and a collective concern for the safety of its residents. The aftermath of young Dolph's death transcended mere chaos, evolving into what some described as a veritable war. Insights provided by the YouTube channel Cut to the Chase TV revealed a landscape where many individuals sought refuge in exile, reflecting the profound impact of the tragedy on the community.
As soon as young Dolph lost his life, who left Memphis? Glock. He put all his yellow cars on a ramp and got the hell on.
Young Dolph's death emerged as a catalyst for the upheaval, with indications that he played a role in the escalating tensions. As news of Dolph's case first surfaced, the details surrounding the perpetrators remained shrouded in uncertainty. However, the subsequent investigations by the police swiftly uncovered individuals linked to the tragic event, shedding light on the complex web of connections and circumstances surrounding the rapper's untimely demise.
26-year-old Devin Burns and 26-year-old Joshua Taylor. With the addition of these 2 men, there are now 5 people total either behind bars, on the run, or wanted for questioning.
A nuanced distinction emerged among the men implicated in the tragic events surrounding young Dolph's death. Legal charges delineated varying degrees of involvement, with some individuals directly accused of carrying out the K, while others were identified as accessories to the crime. Additionally, a category of individuals was classified as people of interest, indicating a level of suspicion or connection that warranted further investigation.
These 5 men are either in custody or wanted for questioning. Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith are both behind bars, both charged with in the case.
The complexity of the situation deepened as another figure was added to the list, someone believed to be the mastermind behind the K. This revelation suggested a more intricate and strategic layer to the tragic events surrounding young Dolph's death, introducing a central orchestrator who played a pivotal role in the planning and execution of the crime.
Hernandez Govan, he is charged with first-degree murder, criminal attempted first-degree murder, and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder.
The interconnected web of individuals involved in the tragic events surrounding young Dolph's death became increasingly apparent as investigators delved into the case. The discovery of one person implicated in the crime served as a catalyst, leading to the identification of others, creating a domino effect of culprits.
The police didn't start getting leads, they didn't start developing suspects, they didn't start developing motives until they started locking people up. The moment Cornelius Smith got locked up, that's when everything went downhill.
The names of those involved were widely publicized in the media, with Govan's name specifically mentioned as the alleged mastermind according to the initial news reports. However, a peculiar turn of events has since unfolded. Govan, despite being implicated, has been granted a bond and placed under house arrest, a decision made with the consent of young Dolph's family. In contrast, Justin Johnson and Cornelius Smith find themselves confined to jail, highlighting a disparity in legal outcomes for the individuals connected to the tragic incident. The perplexing decision to grant someone accused of first-degree M, like Govan, the freedom to stay outside of prison has raised questions and fueled speculation within the community. This unconventional move has led some to reconsider the initial narrative, casting doubt on Govan's essential role in young Dolph's death, as originally asserted. When seeking revenge for young Dolph's death, individuals did not initially target Govan, but instead directed their actions towards someone else.
We've been told by Memphis police that a high-profile gang member was killed in a shooting in Orange Mound this afternoon. Joshua Taylor was named a person of interest in the young Dolph murder case.
The details of the scene were pretty gruesome.
Officers say the shooting happened at Spotswood Avenue near Bunton Street. Police received a call about a body found around 1 p.m. this afternoon.
A brief period after the incident, Police Chief C.J. Davis arrived at the scene, with neighbors expressing their belief that the victim was likely shot that night. While the sequence of events could be coincidental, news outlets have drawn a clear connection between the M of young Dolph and Joshua Taylor. This connection, whether coincidental or indicative of a broader pattern, adds an additional layer of intrigue and speculation to the unfolding narrative.
Dolph was outside a South Memphis cookie store. 3 months later, MPD called Taylor and another man persons of interest. Taylor was reportedly questioned but never charged.
The unfolding events left locals with a lingering sense that this was not the end, and an air of anticipation hung over the community, suggesting that more was yet to come.
Taylor's death has left the community on edge, as many fear the violence isn't over, that retaliation will only continue.
YouTube commentators foresaw the potential for conflict, predicting a war fueled by the fact that all individuals linked to young Dolph's death were coincidentally members of a Memphis gang known as True La Mafia. The observation hints at a deeper layer of complexity and organization behind the tragic events, suggesting that young Dolph's K did not result from individual shooters, but rather from a sophisticated and coordinated organization.
I told y'all just on the live stream, about to start dying and going to jail real soon. Ain't nobody want to believe me, bro.
A pivotal piece of information emerged as it was revealed that Justin Taylor was not just a member, but in fact, the leader of True La Mafia gang.
Teezy ain't just no gang member. Teezy was the head of True La Mafia.
With a substantial target placed on young Dolph, the repercussions reached a critical point, culminating in a strike against the leader of the True La Mafia gang, Justin Taylor.
That means if anybody that's in Trula got anything to do with young Dolph's death, Justin Johnson. Teezy at the end of the day gives the okay.
Initially, there was speculation and questioning as to why Teezy was targeted rather than the actual individuals who physically carried out the shooting. The simple argument posited that the shooters were perceived as individuals following orders, and therefore the focus shifted to a higher-ranking figure within the organization, the leader Teezy.
So at the end of the day, getting Teezy out the way is worth more than even getting the actual out the way. Because if it weren't for you, who is this?
Another suspicious death unfolded in this case, this time involving a rapper named Big Newski, who is believed to have been associated with Justin Johnson. Further exploration will reveal additional details about their connections and the intriguing web of relationships surrounding this rapper.
Big Newski is the same that was all in pictures with Justin Johnson, young Dolph's alleged.
A straightforward explanation for why Teezy and Big Newski were targeted could be their continued presence on the streets compared to the shooters who were incarcerated. The two individuals directly involved in young Dolph's shooting are behind prison walls, making them less accessible for retaliation. Notably, Justin Johnson experienced an assault while in incarceration. Additionally, the suspects linked to young Dolph's M were identified by special uniforms, signifying the need for extra protection from potential harm by other inmates.
See the red shirt Govan is wearing? It is because he, along with others charged in this very high-profile case, are having to be kept away from the general population.
While True La Mafia may not have had a fixed organizational structure, it is suggested that its leader, CEO Teezy, would likely have had to approve or sanction significant actions such as orchestrating a K.
For something that big to go down, you think Justin Johnson could just get paid to do it? No. Teezy had to know about it.
It's evident that CEO Teezy was widely recognized as someone directly involved in young Dolph's death. The news of his own demise brought a sense of satisfaction to many, and some individuals even celebrated the event on social media, underscoring the complex emotions and reactions within the community regarding the tragic events surrounding the rapper. One person wrote, "This is justice being served." Another one added, "For all we know, he could have planned the whole thing from the beginning. I feel nothing for stuff like this. If you live that kind of life, bad things always happen." One more person added, "So much energy behind Dolph. When certain people die, the universe will reset balance by itself. Energy doesn't die, it just gets moved from place to place, person to person. When you die, the energy you had in and for life will be dispatched in different places, good and bad. Remember that. Choose your path wisely." While it may seem that these individuals expressing satisfaction were merely fans of Young Dolph, it's noteworthy that some artists associated with Paper Route Empire, the record label Young Dolph co-founded, also exhibited a celebratory mood. Chance the Rapper wrote, quote, "God bless Dolph, real independent Memphis rapper born in Chicago, loved by millions of people. Always showed love every time I seen him. This is tragic. God bless his family, man." The overarching question emerges as to whether CEO Teezy's demise was an act of revenge or a form of karma. As the leader of a criminal organization, Teezy likely had multiple adversaries, each with their own motivations to target him. However, the subsequent events align with the argument that this was a direct response to Young Dolph's death.
A man is now dead after a shooting happened on Castalia Heights. Officers responded to the scene of Cloverdale Drive and found a 53-year-old man dead.
In response to CEO Teezy's death, another shooting unfolded, specifically in Castalia Heights, a neighborhood associated with Young Dolph. The strategic choice of location suggests that this incident was not a coincidence. The group involved in seeking revenge for Young Dolph's death was identified as R, further emphasizing the targeted and retaliatory nature of these acts. In Young Dolph's song Get Paid, he raps, "R parked in my M front yard." The gang R had strong ties with Young Dolph, and by extension they were closely associated with Young Dolph's record label, Paper Route Empire, which primarily promoted artists from Memphis. According to King Act 47, the shooting in question occurred in Dolph's old neighborhood, situated within R territory.
In Castalia Heights, Young Dolph hood, they call it Dolph land, where some be at, R. Seeing two people slid over there, just start shooting up everything.
The severity of the shooting reached a tragic level as an innocent man residing in the neighborhood became an unintended victim, losing his life in the process.
I believe 58-year-old man lost his life, but he was not the intended target. It may have been another shooting just not too long ago. Castalia Heights.
Another suspicious incident unfolded with the tragic death of Cash Desta, an up-and-coming rapper in Houston. She was purportedly the daughter of Hernandez Govan. The circumstances surrounding her death remain unclear, and more evidence would be needed to establish any connection to the ongoing feuds between True La Mafia and R. That being said, Govan posted in response to his daughter's death with, quote, "I think I cursed you, Destiny, with my lifestyle. I apologize, baby." It appears that R and Trilla Mafia were once part of the same gang, suggesting a shared history and affiliation between the two groups.
If y'all don't know the history of R and Trula, they all used to be one. Trula also used to be in Castalia Heights. They split up, which created R and Trula.
But how the gangs were affiliated with the suspects behind Young Dolph's case and what were the motivations behind the hit is crucial to unraveling the complexities of this tragic event. While none of the individuals implicated in Young Dolph's death have faced legal convictions thus far, the case of Joshua Taylor reveals a distinct pursuit of justice beyond the courtroom. Those seeking retribution appear unswayed by the formalities of a court verdict. The unmistakable affiliation with True La Mafia is difficult to overlook. Notably, Cut to the Chase TV discovered a compelling photograph that adds intrigue to the unfolding narrative.
Boom! That is True La Mafia in Miami the whole month of June. That is CEO Teezy, that's Straight Drop, that's Shondell Barnett.
Justin Johnson, one of the alleged shooters, goes by the rap moniker Straight Drop. Although he was never officially signed to Young Dolph. Being an emerging rapper in Memphis, it's evident that he was acquainted with Dolph. While some argue that he wasn't wearing a particular chain as a mere fan, an additional image surfaced depicting Young Dolph performing at a club with Johnson visible in the background, suggesting a closer connection between the two beyond casual fandom. It sends a shiver down the spine to contemplate how many times Young Dolph might have unknowingly crossed paths with his eventual K. Cut to the Chase TV uncovered additional images showing True La Mafia members donning pre-chains.
You got Straight Drop rocking the Paper Route Empire chain on his belt buckle as a wallet holder. You got JoJo Splat rocking the Paper Route Empire chain even after Young Dolph has been dead for 2 months.
Typically, if you observe someone wearing a G-Unit or Wu-Tang chain, The assumption would be that they are fans of the respective music groups. However, in the case of these chains associated with True La Mafia, the opposite holds true.
That's not an honorary pendant they're wearing it. They're wearing that Paper Route Empire chain to mock Young Dolph, to mock Paper Route Empire. Yeah, we got your chain, come get it back. We took your chain from you.
A crucial piece of evidence in Young Dolph's M investigation revolves around a stolen white Mercedes. As mentioned earlier, this points to the involvement of a sophisticated criminal organization, with one of their significant operations being carjackings.
Focusing on a widespread and sometimes deadly trend, carjackings. Car thefts in Memphis have almost doubled this year, and according to MPD, the suspects involved are getting younger.
And these cars are used for getting things done.
Think about it, they're not reselling the cars, they're not painting the cars, they are stealing these cars to do other crimes, to do other shootings, to do other murders. Let's keep that in mind when you think about the Young Dolph case.
On the day Young Dolph was shot, the assailants were driving a stolen white Mercedes. This vehicle was not only linked to the incident involving Young Dolph, but it was also connected to a second shooting in Covington, approximately 40 miles away from Memphis. The abandoned house in Orange Mound, Memphis, served as the location where the stolen Mercedes was eventually discovered, providing a critical link between the two shootings and potentially unveiling the geographic reach and mobility of those involved in these criminal activities.
Images of this now infamous white Mercedes, Memphis police say, was the getaway car used in Young Dolph's murder at Makita's Cookies has been viewed by millions.
Then this car is connected to Justin Johnson, and this neighborhood is connected to Hernandez Govan.
Court records show 43-year-old Hernandez Govan, who was just indicted in the rap star slaying, along with Johnson and Cornelia Smith, once lived just a few houses down.
Orange Mound indeed resonates as it was told earlier. It's the same neighborhood where CEO TZ met his demise. Now that it's established that True La Mafia members are suspects in Young Dolph's case, let's delve into the underlying dispute between them. Surprisingly, True La Mafia and Young Dolph were once on good terms. In fact, they collaborated on a song with rapper J Money Trula. Unfortunately, J Money and his brother D Money were tragically K'd in 2016, with Uncle Danny, signed to Paper Route Empire, alleged to be the K of D Money. The only link to this is a peculiar Facebook exchange that occurred after Young Dolph's death between someone and J Money's mother. The message from the other person stated that J Money would have had the streets mourning Young Dolph. In response, J Money's mother asserts that her son did not grieve for either Young Dolph or D Money because, according to her, Young Dolph signed the K of D Money. King Act 47 seems to be referring to this when he says,
Trula used to be cool with Dolph until Young Dolph signed somebody that on the streets and allegedly, I'm not saying who the dude name is, y'all do that for yourself. They homie.
For Young Dolph, the deal with signing Uncle Danny was purely a business decision. He saw potential in an artist he believed could generate revenue for him. Moreover, Young Dolph had already relocated from Memphis to Atlanta, shifting his focus away from street beef in Memphis, which was not his primary concern. However, for True La Mafia, this signing was perceived as a betrayal, a transgression that often triggers retaliation in the context of gang dynamics.
Once Dolph did that, Trula took it as ultimate disrespect, and you start seeing Trula align themselves with Young Dolph out. Who was Young Dolph out? CMG.
Another significant figure in this complex situation is Key Glock, who was signed to Paper Route Empire and considered Young Dolph's protege. After Young Dolph's tragic death, revelations surfaced indicating that Key Glock had connections with some individuals associated with the events leading to the death of his mentor. After previously deleting his social media accounts following the death of his mentor Young Dolph, Key Glock took to his IG stories Sunday to address those who have reached out to him. Stop asking me if I'm okay, knowing damn well I ain't. The post also included a broken heart emoji. Key Glock, whose birth name is Markevius LaShun Cathy, is connected to Dolph through familial ties by marriage. In 2017, Dolph, recognizing Key Glock's talent, officially welcomed him into the fold by signing him to the Paper Route Empire label. Together, they collaborated on the album Dumb and Dumber in 2019 and followed up with the sequel, Dumb and Dumber 2, released this year. Going beyond the music scene, Key Glock joined Dolph in a community initiative, as reported by WREG, where they distributed 200 Thanksgiving turkeys November 15, 2021 at the West Cancer Center and Research Institute in Germantown, Tennessee. Glock has maintained a silence surrounding Dolph's demise, breaking it only recently, although the target of the 24-year-old rapper's Instagram stories post remains unclear. It is evident that he is grappling with profound sorrow over the tragedy. Notably, Key Glock achieved success earlier this month with the debut of his album Yellow Tape 2, which secured the number 7 spot on the Billboard 200 albums chart. In the days leading up to Dolph's passing, he actively supported and promoted Key Glock's latest project on Instagram, expressing admiration with captions such as "Key Glock new project Yellow Tape 2 out now on all platforms. S hard." For those familiar with Dolph's journey, it's evident that he's always been focused on securing his financial success. Despite this, in the previous year, Dolph allegedly declined a substantial $22 million deal to maintain his independence. Instead, he opted to join forces with Empire. The get-paid rapper made a strategic decision, prioritizing ownership of his masters and a more favorable percentage over the allure of a massive deal. Signing Key Glock to his own Paperu Empire label, the Memphis Natives collaborative project boasts 22 tracks of grit bars, punchlines, and hard-hitting production. On their first joint single, Major, Dolph reminds listeners of his humble beginnings as he spits. "Millions on the table, that's major. I turned dirt into diamonds, that's major.
Millions on the table, that's major. I turned dirt into diamonds."
The entire project was a result of spontaneous creativity within the studio, a space where they invest the majority of their time. The lead singles, namely Crashin' Out, Baby Joker, and Ill, were accompanied by visually captivating treatments. These visuals not only enhance the overall artistic experience, but also contribute to solidifying their position at the pinnacle of the rap game. Dolph said, "Glock's idea. It was fun, just chilling. Nothing too serious, it was really early morning, late nights in the studio." However, it's worth noting that Glock appears to have connections with CEO TZ, which could be seen as potentially incriminating information. Nevertheless, there might be a more innocent explanation for this association. As mentioned earlier, Trula Mafia and Double R were once part of the same gang before splitting into 2 sets. During such divisions, individuals often had to choose sides, sometimes leading to the abandonment of former friendships depending on their allegiances. Key Glock, who was actively building his reputation as a rapper, might have held on to friendships that, in hindsight, may not have been wise. It's crucial to consider that Glock's involvement in the M seems unlikely for 2 compelling reasons. Firstly, the victim is his cousin, making it implausible that he would harm a member of his extended family. Secondly, it does not make sense for Glock to K someone who was actively promoting his career and bringing in significant financial success. The motive behind such an act appears contradictory to the positive trajectory of Glock's career. So the connections between Key Glock and the alleged suspects in Young Dolph's M seem to lack emotional and logical coherence. From an emotional standpoint, it's counterintuitive for Glock to be involved in any harm towards his own cousin, and logically, it does not align with the success and support Dolph was providing for Glock's career. However, given the complexity of gang affiliations, friendships, and the dynamics within the music industry, Key Glock may find himself needing to provide explanations for these connections. While the evidence and circumstances may not support his involvement in the crime, the nature of the associations could still raise questions that demand clarification.
It's quite funny how everybody that used to be associated with you, everybody that used to run with you, everybody that used to be a part of your crew is now accused of your cousin, your Dolph.
However, for Cut to Chase TV, one of the potential motives behind the M of Young Dolph, as suggested by some, could be to sever the financial ties associated with Uncle Danny or Key Glock. Removing Dolph from the equation could be seen as a strategic move to cut off the money supply. In this scenario, eliminating Dolph might be viewed as a way to disrupt the financial stability or success of Uncle Danny and Key Glock, considering Dolph's significant role in their careers and financial endeavors.
So you helping my enemy eat. We don't necessarily have a problem with you, but you is the food supply, you is the water supply, you is supplying my enemy, so we gotta take you out.
When news of Young Dolph's M emerged, many fingers were pointed at one individual, Yo Gotti, another Memphis rapper. This suspicion was fueled by the fact that Young Dolph had a long and violent feud with Yo Gotti. Given their history, when Dolph was K'd, there was a widespread assumption that Yo Gotti might have been involved in some way. Despite the potential for Young Dolph and Yo Gotti to have been close friends, several reasons prevented them from seeing eye to eye. The roots of their beef trace back to Young Dolph's early days in Memphis when Yo Gotti attempted to sign him to his label. A significant aspect of Young Dolph's narrative was his commitment to being an independent artist, determined to stand on his own without relying on a major label. Once he said, quote, "My dad used to always tell me when we were little, like real little, I'm rich, I'm knowing we F up. But he telling me, I'm rich, it ain't about money, I'm rich in spirit. I got a job, got my kids, it's like S. He wasn't complaining. It is what it is, and he was dealing with it. My parents always kept me grounded." However, Yo Gotti perceived this independence as a form of disrespect, leading to the initiation of their long-standing feud. This clearly caused consternation between the two. and Dolph took to Twitter to express his sentiments. Quote, "Bra went from being my #1 fan and wanting to sign me to being my biggest hater. #facts." Dolph added fuel to the fire by titling his album King of Memphis, a designation that Yo Gotti frequently used for himself. The implicit suggestion was that Dolph had taken over Gotti's throne. However, Dolph downplayed this by stating that he was not the King of Memphis, but rather a King of Memphis, highlighting a small but significant distinction.
King of Memphis, not the King of Memphis. Like, all of my partners king. Everybody that hang with me, all my partners, like, everybody having some paper, everybody caked up.
Gotti chose not to publicly respond to Dolph, and much of the retaliation came from Gotti's affiliate, Black Youngsta. Youngsta posted a video in which he, alongside others, was seen carrying a gun and walking around Dolph's neighborhood, seemingly looking for him. In the video, he can be heard saying, "Dolph, you are soft. If you got a problem, say you got a problem. And you ain't even no King of Memphis." The tensions between the two camps escalated with these public confrontations. He responds to this on Instagram saying, "Gotti, you are a B-ass guy," he says, before accusing Gotti of trying to get him arrested. Quote, "I just got back to the city and they say you're trying to put charges on me or put the police on me." Yo Gotti recently appeared on Tim Westwood's show where he denounced Black Youngsta's actions, saying, quote, "The I'm dealing with on a day-to-day, the paper's so big that this be below my vision." He also added, "Don't handle your business like that. That ain't really worth it." There were not one, but two attempts on young Dolph's life, both of which had connections to Gotti and Black Youngsta. In February 2017, Dolph was in North Carolina when someone opened fire on the Jeep he was driving. The vehicle was shot at approximately 100 times, but thanks to the bulletproof glass, Dolph survived the incident. In a bold move, he even mocked his assailants by releasing a song titled 100 Shots.
100 shots. Me and my pull up in 100 drops.
With Gotti, there's too much at stake for him to risk going to jail. That's why when Dolph was taking shots at Gotti, Black Youngsta seemed to step in and handle the dirty work. Gotti aimed to keep his hands clean at all times. However, when it comes to his brother, Big Joke, things are not as straightforward. In July 2023, Big Joke is believed to have been arrested, but the reasons behind his arrest remain unknown. If Big Joke's arrest is linked to young Dolph's M, it could pose a significant challenge for Gotti and his affiliates to maintain their stance of innocence and deny any involvement in the crime.